Hey, how about you, everybody? Welcome into the Wednesday edition of Inside the 20 with myself and Keith Niebuhr. We've got a special episode today. We've got a special guest, Mr. Drew Fabianich, General Manager of the Auburn Tigers. He also is, Director of Scouting and Development as well, Drew?
Yes. I mean, it's all encompassing. I handle pretty much everything, but the coaching. But I have, a really, really good department that's been set up for recruiting. Darren Usher and Steve Ruzick do a great job. I brought on Cole Brown, Sam Beckenstein. Jared Walker was already here. Logan Meyer was already here. It's a very good department, and it's growing every day, and I'd like it to grow every single day. We need more people, and we'll get more people eventually.
Drew, you spent, 18 plus years with the Dallas Cowboys, 14 of which I think was a national scout. You come to Auburn in July. What's kind of your first thing when you arrive at Auburn? What's your highest priority when you first get here?
To figure out what everybody did. That was the biggest thing. I mean, you have to break everything down. You almost have to reverse engineer everything and find out what was working, what wasn't working. And quite honestly, they had a lot of good things working. I just wanted to streamline the process, make it faster, get things done a heck of a lot quicker, get offers out faster. Again, notice I keep saying faster.
Yes.
I want it streamlined, and these guys have done it. They've done a really good job of identifying players. I just wanted to make it a cleaner process. That's all.
Keith, you've got a good question for Drew. You were talking about before the show. Go ahead with kind of what he's looking for, right?
Yeah, well, Drew, you have extensive, obviously, experience in the NFL, almost 2 decades, but also people that don't know you coached at the University of Tennessee as well. You have college experience. So you've scouted both guys at 22 years old and guys at 16 years old. What is the big difference? What is the challenge for you now to go back to scouting 16, 17-year-olds from when you were scouting in the NFL?
Well, it goes back to just one word that I think is universal throughout. They've got to have traits. If they don't have traits to play, they can't play, regardless of how old you are or not. The hardest part I'm having, and I'm being really, really blunt with y'all, I have a real tough time offering ninth graders. I can't wrap my arms around a corner that's 5'9.5", 148 pounds. And thinking that, maybe he's going to be 6 foot and he's going to be 185. Well, what if he's not? That's the hardest part I have. And it's not the projection of the player. It's the projection of the body type that I have a tough time with. Some guys are, you've seen the monsters that are 6'4" and they're, 295 pounds already and they've got an 18 foot. And guess what? They're already big. I'm good with that. It's the skill position guys that look like they're still very young children.
Right.
That's what scares me. And I'm still having a tough time getting my arms around it. I really am.
That's good to hear because I have a tough time like even covering an offer like that. When I look it up and as a kid in the class of 2026, my son's 12 years old. He's a class of 2028 kid, and I'm going, guys 2 years older than him and getting offers from SEC schools.
Well, I can see it when you've seen some of the monsters out there that have matured early and everything like that. I'm okay with that. But like you said, it's really difficult for me to wrap my arms around everything else. It really is. So I try not to. I try to wait it out. And guess what? If I'm the 10th offer down the road, I'm okay with that.
Right.
For that guy, because I'd rather be the first offer down the road for the monster. That's what I'd rather be, quite honestly.
So, Drew, when you get here in July, are you looking more at the system, the process in which the offers? Are you looking at talent evaluation on the roster? Are you looking at what this team needs, what this program needs?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and here's the thing. My first project, I came up here to sign my contract. I actually took the laptop back with everything loaded in it from the spring, and he asked me to evaluate every single player on the roster. And by the time I got back, I had done that. We moved in 9 days. So I spent most of my evenings knocking that out, getting packed on, in the mornings. And, when I got here, I was ready to give the evaluation, and he asked me to do it in front of the entire coaching staff. I was like, you sure don't want to do just offense, defense? He goes, no. He was like, the offense needs to hear this, defense needs to hear this on both sides. So, yeah, there's some needs. Be blunt, there's a whole class of junior offensive linemen that are missing. I don't know how that happened. Don't care how it happened. Just it needs to be rectified, needs to be fixed. Um, you know, but yes, I spent time evaluating the roster. We also did it again during fall camp in August. I thought it was a great teaching tool for the younger scouts that are on staff, and I traded positions like every 3 days with them. I didn't. I mean, I made them trade positions every 3 days to evaluate the players that were on the roster and see if it kind of coincided with what I saw and everybody else saw. Because sometimes groupthink is good, okay, especially on your own team. I don't want groupthink all the time because, like we always said, there's an outlier somewhere out there that says, hey, I like this guy a lot, or I dislike this guy a lot.
Yeah.
And you have to ask the question why. Not because the three other guys say, oh, I really like him. Well, find out why the guy doesn't like him. Find out why the one guy really does like him. And guess what? Go back and watch the tape, and maybe you find some holes in your quote group think. So I think that was what we did. And that's, I don't know if I answered your question or not, but
yes, sir.
There are needs everywhere. And what I'm trying to tell you guys is that I think that the way this is built now, the transfer portal, the way things go, I mean, if it doesn't go a kid's way, it's deuces and I'm out. Well, you got to be prepared for that. And you may say, hey, I need 4 linebackers. Well, you may need 6. When it's all said and done. So you got to be prepared. You got to be prepared for everything, because this is free agency, just like in the NFL. But it's free agency without a contract, which is quite honestly a little messed up. I don't think that. I personally don't like the idea of it, but I mean it's part of the landscape now, so you have to deal with it. I think kids need to learn how to actually fight through adversity, and they never have to anymore. So, and that's me being on soapbox. I'll get off now. Go ahead.
I'm up there with you.
Drew, you've got this role now where you've got to wear many hats, and one of them is recruiting. And Jeffrey and I have talked to numerous high school players, high school coaches, other people who are of influence in these kids' lives, and your name is one that keeps coming up over and over again. Okay. So, what has that transition been like, going from the NFL back to that recruiting side where you have to kind of be on at all times? I mean, your personality obviously is showing in this interview. You like to talk, you're engaging and all that stuff. But what were better than us? So what have you enjoyed? Have you enjoyed that aspect of it? And is that that's it's a lot of work dealing with these kids at all times, isn't it?
It is, but I'm gonna tell you what. I'm gonna tell you the same thing I tell them. I'm just me. I'm gonna tell you exactly what I think, and I'm never gonna lie to you. And I'm not a salesman. I just state the facts. That's all I do. And for me, and I'll tell you this too. I don't have social media. I mean, I don't, and never have. Don't want it. I know I'm probably going to have to eventually kind of bend a little bit, just because it's easier to access the kids that way. I never carried my phone with me ever when I was in the NFL. Never. I do now. I carry it with me all the time. The only place I will not carry it, I will not take it out to practice. I refuse. That's just my old school upbringing with my dad and being a coach's kid and being a coach. I just don't believe in that. I believe in focusing at practice and getting what you need to get done at practice. And so, am I enjoying it? I enjoy the kids. I enjoy getting to know them. Do I enjoy the process? No, I don't. Because I'm not a salesman. I always tell them I'm just me. And that's what I'm trying to sell. I can develop you differently than anybody else can in college football.
And that was going to be my next question. What are you selling right now? What do you personally like to sell to a kid?
Well, I prefer to kind of keep that with me and the kids. But what I can tell them is there's probably not a question that they can ask me about the NFL that I can't answer. In 18 years, I should know exactly the answer. If I don't, I can make 2 calls or maybe 1 and find the answer out for you. So but everything else I'd kind of like to keep between me and the kids, to be quite honest with you. Is that okay?
Of course. Drew, all that experience in the NFL, but again, you did have that college experience. Mm-hmm. What got you back to the colleges? What made you say, it's time to leave the Dallas Cowboys and leave the NFL and go back to what I had done before, or work at a college? What were some of the reasons there? Because you had a great position, obviously, with a great organization.
Well, the thing was, and I've known Coach Harsons for a while now. We weren't tight, but we've kind of admired from afar, because I met him down in Austin when I was living down in Austin. Knew him through his whole career, through Boise, through, Texas, through, Arkansas State even, because I worked for Larry Lacewell, and Larry Lacewell's a legend up at Arkansas State, and he got to know Brian up there too. The one thing that intrigued me about this whole thing is, and I'll be really blunt about this, I did exactly the same thing every single day for 14 years. And the only thing that changed was the players. And I averaged 65 flights a year, 210 days a year in a hotel room. And I spent 18 years with the Cowboys, but I spent 13 and a half of it in a hotel room. And again, I think when you get to where, you're doing exactly the same thing, that it gets to where you almost become robotic and you lose a little bit of motivation. And it wasn't that I wasn't doing my job. It's just that, I wasn't intrigued every single day. Yeah. And I got to tell you, this thing here, this changes every 10 minutes. And guess what? You got to deal with this. Okay, fix it. You got to deal with this. Fix it. Right? And I like that. It's a challenge. And I respect Brian Harsin. He's a hell of a football coach. That's the other thing. I respect what he does on the field and always have. So,
Drew, you've been here for almost 3 months. You and your wife, Heather. How has the move to Auburn been? Had you been here before?
I don't think it's been. Jeff, I don't think it's been 3 months. I got here like July 30, like 28th or something, right before Big Cat.
Oh. So
I hadn't been here, but I don't think about 45, 46 days, something like that.
Math has never been my strong suit.
Yeah. Well, that's all right. I was like, have I really been here 3 months?
Well, I did July, August, September, October. But you got here. You've been here August.
Just August and August and September. Yeah, about 2 months, about 2.5 months.
That's what I said, Drew.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. I screwed it up. Yeah. I'm not very good at math either.
Well, Drew, since you're not on the road anymore, I assume that can you transfer your Marriott points to a new friend, let's say?
No.
Delta Sky Miles.
I'm just asking. Just wondering here.
Because trust me, we could probably go around the world on those points and everything else. I got Marriott points where we can stay for free for 10 years.
That's a hell of a lot of golf too.
Yeah,
free flights too.
I've been here, but I've never really spent a lot of time here. Coached against these guys here. Has my wife enjoyed it? Yes, she likes the slower pace of it. She really enjoys the people. I think I told you this, Jeff. I mean, when I talked to the people I talked to about this job, there were a lot of people I knew that had coached here and worked here and everything else. And every time I got off the phone, my wife would go, "How'd it go?" I said, "Good." I said, "But you know what?" I said, after I talked to like 3 out of the 6, and then after I talked to 4 out of the 6, and 5 out of the 6, and 6 out of the 6, I said, there's one word that keeps coming out of their mouth. And I went, she goes, "What?" And I go, "They keep saying it's special." And no, they didn't say family. They didn't say atmosphere. They said, "This place is special." And I was like, wow. I was like, that kind of sold me because everybody said it and they weren't solicited to, and they didn't know I was going to talk to each one of them. So, there are a couple people that really sold me on this job that used to be here, that are still around, that I respect a great deal. And that's the other reason I came here too.
Drew, when you wake up every day and get to the office over there, what is your single biggest challenge right now in the here and the now? What is number one on your list?
Catch up on 23 every single day. Okay. I want to get ahead of 23. I mean, I know that everybody's saying, well, you're behind. Well, the reason why we're behind is when they brought these guys here in June, the collective wasn't up and running.
That was fun.
And everybody else was saying, the average NIL deal at our school is such and such. Our average, guess what? These guys couldn't tell them anything because it wasn't up and going. So to say that you were behind the 8 ball, you're behind the 8 ball. Now we're not. These guys are doing a good job. The collective is rolling. They're getting money in every single day. But they're humping it. And guess what? They have to, because if you don't get this to a certain point, you will be a have-not. Because there's a lot of haves out there that are already there, and you know who they are, And put it this way, I'll say it, Texas is unlimited. They've got all the money they want. Okay. Well, that's what this place needs to do too. Needs to get to a point where it's self-sustaining and you can keep rolling it because, it's not about me. It's not about, coach. It's not about anything other than Auburn. You got to build a foundation. And the foundation starts with that because you got to support all these athletes.
Right.
Because it's important. Because if you don't, somebody else will. So.
On to victory, the Auburn NIL. Brett Whiteside, Beth Burkett done a fabulous job since taking over. I think back in the summer, I think they've raised 10 of the 30, and that was a month ago. 10 million of their goal of they want 30 million in 3 years. They've already got 10. They did so very quickly. All the reports I've heard and everything I've heard about those guys has been top notch. And I've known Brett since he was here as director of player personnel under Gus Malzahn. So I know Brett and what he can do. Beth as well. She was fantastic for Auburn when she was a recruiting. So they've done a fantastic job.
I agree. And and as long as they continue to do that, and just stay ahead of the curve, that's what we need. Because again, if you have no foundation, you can't build a house. You just can't. So they're doing it. Now we just gotta tie the loose ends up and get this going.
One of the things that I've said on a couple of the shows prior to this is the NIL. Auburn needs to be in a position where NIL is never the reason a kid chooses another school.
Absolutely. And that's what I mean. It needs to get. And again, I'm just tossing numbers out because I've talked to numbers people about it. Really, what you need in there is about 35 million, and then it self-sustains itself just like an endowment. And then you don't have to worry about continually raising money because I'm sure the people get tired of going, hey, we need another million. We need another 500,000. We need another 100,000. If you're a one-time donor, be a one-time donor. Be a big donor. And, help these kids out. Because it's not just about football. It's about basketball. It's about baseball. It's about every single women's sports of non-revs. It's about everything because you have to support everything. So.
They've got subscriptions now for as low, I think $34 a month. We've pinned it on our message board before. If you're listening and you haven't, go check out On to Victory. You can help out Auburn in a big way, even the smallest donation. Drew, your background in the NFL, how much does that help you in the NIL game? Are there like valuations? I know at On3 we have NIL valuations and just going off of. But does your background help you go, this kid's worth or this kid's not worth? Or okay,
that's not what I'm supposed to do, and we don't talk about that.
Okay,
that's truly up to them. That's truly up to the collective. Yeah, that is.
Okay, well that's a good learning for me.
Yes, truly up to them. And again, do I know the value of players? Yeah, I know the value of players because there's certain players that are premier positions and everything else, and those guys are the ones in the NIL that are making the most money. Guess what? Who's making the most money? Quarterbacks. Go figure.
Right.
It's the same in the league. It's no different. So.
Interesting.
There you go.
Yeah, I think Drew, we appreciate you coming on, man. That was awesome.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me, and hey, I just want this program exposed the way it should be exposed, and like I said, some of the things that are floated out there, aren't true. And it's nice to actually be able to voice, some facts. And that's what I do. I voice facts, just like that's how I recruit.
Drew, last thing, what's your ultimate goal here at Auburn?
Build a monster. Bottom line. This place has everything you want. You see it every Saturday. Fans are incredible. The city's incredible. The school's incredible. Guess what? You get them here on campus, this place sells itself. It does. And again, that's my job. Get them here on campus, get them sold, right? Play on if I got an equal playing field, it's really not because this place is special. So that's what I'm trying to do. And I make it real simple. People even ask my wife that, so what's he going to do? She said, build a monster. So what I'm trying to
Drew,
do.
Thank you so much for joining us, man. Maybe, hopefully you'll come back and check in with us every once in a while. We definitely appreciate love the insight into the program, what the goals are. Your new role, I think, is fantastic for Auburn. I think it's going to be fantastic in the long run. It's already making impacts. As Keith said, I've heard your name just as much as I have a lot of guys' names, so I know how involved you are, and as Keith said, you wear a lot of different hats, and looking forward to seeing the impact and effect you have on Auburn in this program. But we appreciate you joining us, Drew. Really do, man. Welcome to Auburn. I hope you enjoy it, and thanks again. Hey, everybody, thanks for listening, everybody, man. Y'all stay out of the left lane. See ya. I want to give a big hat out to Caleb Schofield, our sponsor for the show, Caleb Schofield from Mike Patton Auto. If you're looking for a new or used vehicle and anywhere in the country, because he delivers, give Caleb Schofield a call, 334-531-0966. They're in LaGrange, Georgia. He sells new Ford, Lincoln, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and even Hondas. Got a fantastic used car vehicle lot. And everything comes with a warranty. All used cars pass a multi-point inspection before they get them off the lot, and they back those used cars with a free 3-month, 3,000-mile warranty. The new cars are even better. Comes with a free lifetime powertrain warranty, unlimited time, unlimited mileage. Big deal there for all your new cars. Not in the market. Know somebody who is? Caleb will give you $300 for the referral. Give Caleb a call, 334-531-0966. We appreciate Caleb's support of the show.